Thank you. I'll move
Hello,
on.
Chair. My name is Dan Taylor. I'm the project manager for the Blue planning application.
Righto, thank you. Dan Taylor, project manager for the Blue. Righto, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, Dan. I've received apologies for one member this evening. That's Councillor Maria Linkford-Hall, and Councillor Damien O'Brien has kindly agreed to replace her. So now I will, and I haven't received any other additional apologies, so I will now ask members of the committee to confirm that they are voting members of this committee. Can I begin with Councillor Carl Eason? Can you confirm, please?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Carl. Councillor Surajil Islam?
Yes, Chairman. Councillor Islam, a member of the planning subcommittee B.
Thank you, Surajil. Councillor Victoria Mills?
Yes, Chair, I'm a voting member of the committee.
Thank you. Councillor David Noakes?
Yes, Chair, I'm also a voting member of the committee.
Thank you. Councillor Damien O'Brien?
Voting member, Chair.
And Councillor Martin Seaton?
A voting member, Chair. Thank you.
And I indeed can confirm that I'm a voting member of the committee. I've got notification of any items deemed urgent. We have an addendum report that has been circulated and that officers will speak to, listed in the main agenda and members pack. And we've also got a response document for a late submission made from objectors, which the officers will respond to as well. Do any members wish to declare any interest or dispensation in respect of any item or issue to be considered at this meeting this evening?
No, Chair.
Right, thank you. Now I turn to the meeting on the 21st of... Yes?
Well, only just to say that, but I'm assuming this will be for the record, that I think we all received a submission on the 3rd of December from the Woolworths Society.
Yes, yes,
An email.
yes. Well, I alluded to that and did say that the officers will speak to. I said, I just mentioned a late objection for submission from an objector, so which the officers will speak to. But thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
And it came from the Woolworths Society. Thank you. So I turn to the meeting of the 21st of October. Colleagues, I was absent at that meeting. So does anyone wish to agree the meeting and the minutes from the meeting and second it that were present at the meeting, please? In the absence of our Vice Chair, Councillor Seaton? Could I invite you to, could you unmute yourself, please?
Sorry, Chair.
Minutes of the 21st of October. I need a member that was present to agree the minutes.
Of course, sorry.
In the absence of Councillor Limpford-Hall, my Vice Chair. So are you happy? And if we could have a seconder for, please.
I'll second it. I'll second it.
I'm happy. I'm happy. Yes.
Thank you very much. So Councillor Meaton and Surajil for you to second.
Yes,
I'm really
Chair.
grateful. And that's a true account of the minutes. Yes, happy?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. And are we all in favour of those minutes for those colleagues that were present?
Agree.
Agreed. Thank you. The next item of business concerns the determination and planning applications. I would like to remind everyone of the subcommittee of the guidance on the conduct of business. Officers will present the report, outline their recommendations and answer questions raised by the subcommittee. And these comments are not only for committee members, but for members of the public, for those of you that are new to the structure of a planning committee. If present and wishing to speak, the following may then address the committee for no more than 3 minutes each. And and I will say this to all speakers that hope to speak this evening, whether you be applicants, objectors, ward councillors, there's going to be more than one of you, can you decide in advance of being invited to speak, please, who is going to speak? And if the time is going to be split, then you need to decide that in advance. If you can agree that in advance, please, I'll be really grateful. One spokesperson, but you will still have up to 3 minutes. And I've invited the constitutional officer to timekeep on my behalf, and she will give a 30-second warning before the end of your time. One spokesperson representing any objectors to the application, but you can have multiple speakers up to 3 minutes. By now you need to have identified a single spokesperson. If more than one objection wishes to speak, the time will be divided accordingly within the 3-minute time slot, which I've already outlined. The applicant or their agent, one spokesperson representing any supporters of the application who live within 100 metres of the development site, a ward councillor representing the area affected by the proposal. Each speaker should restrict their comments to the planning aspects of the proposal and should avoid repeating information which is already in the report, and this is for your own benefit. The meeting is not a hearing where all participants present evidence to be examined by other participants. At the end of each representation, the subcommittee may ask questions of the presenter. Speakers should lead the subcommittee to subjects on which they would welcome further questioning. Ward members in attendance and those nominated to speak on behalf of the objectors, supporters and applicants may be asked to make further brief contributions in case any issues need to be clarified after they have addressed the meeting. This is not an opportunity to take part in a debate of the subcommittee. After receiving all submissions, the subcommittee will debate the application and consider the recommendation. This is a council subcommittee meeting which is open to the public, and there should be no interruptions from members of the public. Finally, I would like everyone present to know that although the planning subcommittee comprises members from different political parties, we are not politically whipped. Our decisions are made in accordance with the council's planning policy and based on the information contained within the relevant reports, together with the consultation responses and any verbal submissions made today. How we approach these applications is set out in the Development Management Report at item 7, and if members are happy to note that report, we will move on to considering the applications. This evening, colleagues and members of the public, we've got items 7.1 and 7.2, which we're going to hear first, and that's the Walworth Town Hall and Newington Library, 151 to 155 Walworth Road, London, SC 171RS, and that's pages 5 to 86 of the agenda pack and addendum report. So can I now invite Catherine Jeter, Planning Officer, to present on that particular application, please.
Hi, thank you, Chair. I'm going to present the addendum report first, if members would like to find that piece of information. So we have a couple of updates to it also, which I'll verbally update you as we go. So the addendum to item 7.1 and 7.2, planning permission listed building consent for Walworth Town Hall. The first section is update to the recommendation at paragraph 2. Following the feedback from the applicant, an update to the recommendation at paragraph 2 should read, in the event that the legal agreement is not completed by the 30th of June 2021, the Director of Planning be authorised to refuse planning permission listed building consent for the reasons set out at paragraph 153 of the report. With regards to the summary of consultation responses, 3 further public comments for 20 AP 1649, that's the listed building consent application, have been received since the publication of the report. They are objections and include concerns regarding resolving to grant consent prior to the 106 agreement being signed, the written response to the applicant's planning agents to the Walworth Society's objection, and the perceived council bias towards the developer. The officer response to that is the officer recommendation is to resolve to grant consent for both applications, subject to signing the Section 106 agreement. Members have been provided with the heads of terms, and detail will follow this as standard procedure. There is also a recommendation to refuse this application if the 106 is not signed and therefore agreed by the 30th of June 2021. The comments provided by the applicant's planning agents, Rolf Judd, regarding the Walworth Society objection have been provided on the public file for transparency. A further comment in the form of briefing notes to members was sent by the Walworth Society on the 3rd of December 2020. These have also been added to the public file, and as set out in the report, and later on I will set them out after the main report, the applications meet the requirements of relevant policies and therefore approval subject to conditions, and signing of the Section 106 is recommended. Paragraph 9, there's some updates to the Section 106 heads of terms table. For clarity, I've provided these in yellow highlighted on the document, and I will just pick out those sections for you. So on the 3rd page, affordable workspace provision, we have changed it from prevailing local area to market rates for the co-working desks in the buildings. This is a 40% discount to membership. There's another section regarding businesses within Southwark. There's another section regarding appropriate provider other than Southwark Works, who was originally in the original heads of terms. Sorry, one moment, please. With regards on page 5 of the addendum, the cafe use includes A1, A3 and D1 for floor space. With regards to the transport and highways heads of terms, the highway works, instead of having a commuted sum paid, the applicant is to enter into a Section 278 agreement of the Highways Act 1980 for any works existing adopting highways. Just to update members verbally on that, the applicant has agreed to the repaving of the Walworth Square pavement in that area. With regards to energy, sustainability and the environment section, the updated terms for that is as a monetary value of £6,778 as based on the calculation rates in the Section 106 and SIL SPD. And that's it for the Section 106 heads of terms. There are some minor wording updates to the conditions. I will go through them quite quickly because they are quite detailed. Condition 4 of 20 AP 1634, update to the hours of use for the cafe. Condition 5, landscaping, to update the words to state prior to the commencement of works, relevant works commencing. Condition 7, the travel plan, update to pre-commencement, update pre-commencement titled to preoccupation. Condition 8, for the BREEAM assessment, update the condition wording to allow for 6 months compliance time frame and some minor wording changes. Condition 10, service management plan, updated the condition title to state preoccupation. Condition 11, updated the condition title to state preoccupation. Condition 15, changed the wording to add fitted with opening restricted rather than just fixed shut. Condition 16, external lighting, to refer to external lighting only. With regard to minor amendments for wording amendments for conditions for the listed building consent application, that's 20 AP 1649. Condition 2, minor wording change to add the words relevant works and scholarly. Condition 3, wording altered to include new works, so it's clear that it means new works, and some minor updates to some plan scales. Condition 4, change requirement for 1 to 50 scale drawings to 1 to 50 or 1 to 100. We consider that to be flexible scale to be more reasonable. Condition 7, external design details, minor change of scale of drawings but required by condition. There was some, that's the end of the conditions. There was some further information requested by members at the briefing. So at paragraph 22 of the addendum, update to transport assessment plan. Update to transport assessment at paragraph 76 and 77 of the officer report. The applicants confirm the local experimental traffic orders in the surrounding vicinity, particularly the timed closure near the intersection of Walworth Road and Larkham Street, this will not unduly affect the proposed servicing and waste strategy. Members also requested at the members' briefing comment from their Library and Heritage Centre officers. Their response is set out here in full. I will just highlight some of the areas. It's a step change approach for Southwark Council, marking its commitment to local history and heritage. A heritage edge approach brings together two services under one roof. We want to encourage lots of new people in this unique place. The heritage offer throughout the Heritage Centre Library comprises 4 elements, and they are listed there: many displays of objects, a world wall, temporary exhibition space, permanent exhibition of the borough's history. This is all backed up by ongoing improvement. The space of the site is similar to the Kew Museum provision pre-fire in the Town Hall and Newington Library. The quality of care from presentation displays, artefacts in conservation grade cases is an upgrade from previous resources. While there are over 300 items displayed in the new Heritage Centre and Library, a significant amount remains in storage in tower workshops and other secure facilities, as it has been following the post-fire clearance from the Town Hall. And that's the end of the addendum.
Thank you, Catherine. Are you happy to now present the main presentation, please, on that particular application? Thank you.
If I can just share my screen, find the relevant one. Cool. Can you see my screen with the report, the presentation on it?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Yeah.
I can only see a bit of it. Oh, yes, that's better.
Yes.
Okay. One moment. Sorry, I'm just going to organise my screens here. If you give me a moment.
That's all right. Take your time.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Okay. Can you see the beginning of that there?
The introduction,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Walworth Town Hall is located on Walworth Road at the junction of Wandsey Street, adjacent to Walworth Square. The former council offices were constructed in 1865, extended in 1898, and comprised basement plus 2 3-stories of red stock brick, stone dressings, and slate pitch roof set back from the street with a memorial garden to the front. The building was extended again in 1902 and in 1947. The building became Southwark Municipal Offices in 1965. The building is Grade 2 listed and in the Walworth Road Conservation Area. The building is on Historic England's Heritage at Risk Register. The adjacent former Newington Library is a 4-storey brick building plus basement with stone dressings and duct gable style. Prior to the current education use, the building was a public library with reference section and museum to the rear. The building is currently partly leased to the Art Academy and an art education charity. The building was constructed in 1892 as a public library and extended in 1902 to house the Kew Museum collection. Together, the Town Hall Library site is approximately 0.2 of a hectare. The site is located within the Central Activity Zone, Elephant Castle Town Centre, Air Quality Management Area, Flood Zone 3. The site has a PTAL rating of 6B, with bus stops outside on the Walworth Road and within 500 metres of the Elephant Castle stations. In 2013, a fire devastated the Town Hall. It destroyed the roof and internal elements of the council chamber, associated staircases and rooms of the Town Hall. The roof facing Walworth Road was restored in 2014 and a temporary roof erected over the rear sections. The building was mothballed and remaining decorative elements, including the staircases and stained glass, overboarded to keep safe. Hoarding currently surrounds the building and it is monitored 24-hour security. The library was largely untouched by the fire and is leased separately. Prior to the fire of 2013, the town hall was a mix of offices, civic function spaces, including a one-stop shop, drop-in desk for the public. The fire rendered the offices unusable. The former functions were dispersed around other council-owned facilities, including committee rooms at Tooley Street and offices and My Southwark points, former one-stop shops at Tooley Street, Queens Road and Peckham Hill Street. In 2018-19, the council ran a competition for a restored reimagined town hall to include office, community and education space and the refurbishment of the whole building to be leased. The refurbished building, the proposals for the refurbished building would provide 4,372 square meters of flexible employment B1 and educational fourth place D1 to be used for a mix of studio workspaces, co-working for small and medium enterprises and for the creative industries. Within this space, a new 297 square metre community centre will be provided within the Newington Library to provide free of rent to be run by a not-for-profit organisation. The community rooms will comprise 3 different spaces open to the public all year round, the main library space which can be used for public events and 2 smallable flexible rooms which can be used for a variety of art classes, exercise classes, community meetings, etc. A 404 square metre cafe lobby space, use classes A1, A3 and D1 were provided at ground floor level, which will be accessed by new public entrance off Walworth Square to the north of the building. This space will be accessible by the public from the new entrance to Walworth Square. The proposals would also include external and internal alterations, including a reimagined council chamber, restored principal spaces, refurbishment of library spaces for community use, and new entrance to Walworth Square, extension to 3rd floor and new heritage roof in natural slate to complement the existing roof restored by the council post-fire. Walworth Town Hall, Newington Library fronts onto Walworth Road, a red route with bus stops outside. To the east is Walworth Square, a recent creation as part of the Elephant Park development, from the southern centre of Wandsey Street, which is landscape with planting, seating and public art. To the Walworth Square side, the town hall is a 2-3 stories and faces Ferrara House and Tarling House, which form part of the Elephant Park development and are 5 to 15 story mixed use block with C3 residential on the upper floors and A1, A3 shops, restaurants, cafe on the ground floor facing Walworth Road, Walworth Square and Sayer Street. Internal to the buildings is the courtyard, which is mostly services and has an access onto Ethel Street and glimpse views of the back elevations of the terraces in Ethel Street and rear views of the Walworth Clinic, which is also grade 2. And to the north of the site is Wandsey Street, which includes terraces and 5-story apartment block Garland Court, adjacent to the town hall. Proposed changes. The external changes, the scheme includes refurbishment of the elevations, new stone fascias and landscaping of the memorial garden to the Walworth Road elevation, provision of cycling and storage facilities. To the Walworth Square elevation, proposals include new entrance to Walworth Square, including accessible lift platform, a new roof in natural slate and rebuilt chimneys to the council chamber, and additional storage to the rear of the town hall. The plant enclosure is located to the rear of proposed new mansard roof. There is a proposed lift shaft, linking corridors and refuse storage proposed in the courtyard, as well as a raised amenity space for the offices. At basement, proposals include refurbished spaces for B1 office use, toilets and shower facilities. New internal works include a creation of a cafe at ground floor with link through to the Newington Library building, or alterations to the floor to create office space and refurbishment of the library to include community space with associated kitchen and toilet facilities. A small extension in the courtyard between the building would assist linking the 2 buildings and provide lifts and servicing to ensure accessibility and improve circulation space for the entire site. At first floor, there would be a reimagined council chamber and the refurbishment of the spaces for flexible B1, D1 use. There is also a proposed mezzanine floor in the office facing Walworth Road and a refurbished existing mezzanine in the former library. At second floor, the proposed changes includes the refurbished B1D1 space with a new balcony of the council chamber extending around 3 sides of the space. The third floor includes a new mansard to the rear of the building behind the restored turrets of this section of the building. And the roof plan shows the new restored roof plan, the location of the external plant area towards the rear of the new roof. The proposed new restored roof will the same scale as the pre-fire roof and be to a detailed design reflecting the original roof with natural straight and contrasting decorative slate. The most historically significant spaces in the building, the facades, the council chamber, mayor's parlour, staircases, entrance and library will be restored using an appropriate palette of materials and finishes. The application proposes a scholarly restoration to these spaces as they have been classified as Category A rooms with the most significance in the building. A reimagined council chamber with vaulted roof, restored windows, walls and floor, plus extended accessible balcony to 3 sides of the chamber is proposed. Here's some photographs of the fire damaged council chamber. And this is the proposed CGI of the council chamber with its 3 sides extended mezzanine balcony area and vaulted roof. This is the existing ground floor with the cafe area. 2 of these 3 windows would be opened up to create a new entrance into the cafe area out onto Walworth Square. And this is the proposed cafe area with, if you were standing looking in, this is your back would be to the doors to the outside, and this is looking in. This is the existing staircase situation at the moment, and this is the proposed CGI of what it may look like. This is a Category A room. This would include a scholarly restoration of walls, of flooring, of the tiling, of the roof light also in that space. This is the existing mayor's parlour. This lost the whole of its roof because it was in the front part of the building. This is the new roof as in the existing photograph. And then there's a proposed new mayor's parlour CGI there proposed. This is a proposed Walworth Square elevation entrance. I apologise for the fuzziness of this slide. Sometimes when you cut and paste onto things, it doesn't quite turn out like you would like it to. But I hope members can see the 3 new entrance doors to the new cafe, the lift next door to it, and then the section above shows the cycle parking and the location of that adjacent to the main entrance. With regards to the existing library, this is where the proposed community use space would be. And this is it as existing, and this is it as refurbished, the CGI of it as refurbished. We also have 2 typical first and second floor elevations to show members. These would be Category B and C rooms. A light touch restoration is proposed in these locations, consolidating the existing fabric and providing a gentle restoration in these areas. This is the typical proposed first floor office and a typical proposed second floor office. Conditions on the listed building consent are required to ensure the level of restoration is appropriate for the rooms, and a room by room survey is required to be produced by an accredited conservation architect. The proposed physical alterations and refurbishment of the space meet the requirements of the Southwark plan policies regarding listed buildings and conservation areas, and the requirements of the MPPF in preserving the significance of heritage assets. Historic England have been involved in the application from pre-app and have commented that in principle they support the redevelopment, which provide a sustainable long-term use and facilitate the removal from the building from the heritage at risk register. Aspiration to provide public access is supported. Additional floor would have limited Historic England also commented that the additional floor would have a limited visual impact on the architectural character of the building. They welcome the architect's conservers found approach to the restoration and the more scholarly emphasis on the areas of high significance, and support the application which seeks to provide sustainable solution for these vulnerable buildings. One moment. Moving on to the proposed uses. The next two slides show where the proposed uses are to be located in the development. If members can see the screen now, the pink is the community rooms in D1. The green grey is the flexible B1, D1 offices. This is at ground floor. And the purple use is the A1, A3, D1 cafe use, extending all the way through into the rear of the community rooms. This is the proposed first floor use, which is flexible B1, D1 offices. And the second floor and the third floor are also flexible B1, D1 uses. With regards to policy 2.1 of the Safe Southwark plan, states that planning permission for change of use from D-class facility communities will not be granted unless the community accesses surplus requirements, or there is another locally accessible facility or enhanced provision that can meet the needs of the community. Policy P46, the New Southwark plan, similarly seeks for development to retain community facilities. Safe Southwark Plan Policy 2.1 allows for re-provision of D1 use locally in a locally accessible facility. As proposed new library and heritage centre, the re-provided Cumin Museum is located approximately 50 metres to the north of the site and in a similar prominent location on Walworth Road within the Elephant Park development. This is considered to be a locally accessible community facility to meet the requirements of the policy. The screen shows the pre-fire use with a total of 1,126 square metres of D1 use. This is without the storage or the circulation space. The proposed use table shows that together on-site and off-site square metres will be similar to the pre-fire amount. As the re-provision of the library and museum is in a locally accessible location, and there will be other D1 community use retained in the building, the requirements of this policy is considered to be met. The requirements of Safe Policy 2.2 are also met in that the close proximity of the new libraries and museums to the site ensures the facility will serve the community local to Walworth as it did previously. Furthermore, the council has taken steps since the fire of 2013 to relocate the other D1 services which took place in the town hall and other council-owned buildings, including community rooms and one-stop shop. Excuse me. It should be noted that the cafe floor space of 404 square metres, including the D1 use, as this is intended to be used flexibly by the operator of both A3 cafe and D1 use. Again, the flexible use is likely to attract a wider range of tenants and ensure a sustainable long-term future of the building and provide a supporting complementary use for the community rooms in the former library. If the cafe was wholly in A1, A3 use, there would be a shortfall of D1 use. However, the provisions in the section 106 are to ensure the use of this space is genuinely flexible are proposed. With regards to employment floor space, prior to the fire, the town hall offices accommodated approximately 2,100 square metres of business B1 floor space. The proposal seeks to provide a mix of studio workspace and co-working for the creative industries across approximately 4,372 square metres of flexible business education floor space. The proposal therefore has potential to deliver up to 15% of the council's targeted business floor space. The business floor space will be a combination of office uses and office uses B1A and light maker creative workshops B1C to support a variety of employment. This would be a potential uplift of 1,943 square metres from the pre-fire situation. With regards to affordable workspace, Immersion Policy P30, the New Southwark plan requires developers proposing over 500 square metres of floor space to provide 10% of the floor spaces as affordable workspaces at market rents. However, the listed nature of the building and the applicant's business module requires a flexible approach to the affordable workspace. Therefore, rather than allocating a specific square metre area of the building as affordable workspace, the application proposes affordable workspace memberships to provide on a needs basis to local businesses. These memberships will provide a number of benefits commensurate with the traditional office space. These are to be secured through the 106. With regards to servicing and deliveries to the site were made across two locations. The community floor space within the Newington Library building received deliveries via the existing loading bay on Larkham Street, given its proximity to the entrance. Deliveries for the rest of the element will be undertaken from the double yellow line from Wandsey Street, which benefits from a delivery vehicle turning head. waste collection be via Ethel Street with benefits from delivery vehicle, with waste collection be via Ethel Street with the refuse being collected from the cul-de-sac location. A servicing and delivery management plan is required by condition. Public access. With regards to public access to the town hall and library, we gain by 2 separate entries off Walworth Road. A secondary service entrance is proposed off of Ethel Street. No on-site vehicular parking is available, and cycle parking to the front, side and rear is proposed. Public access event days and other benefits, including discounts for community groups using the spaces, also be secured through the 106. The pink areas on the plan shown are publicly accessible areas, and the purple areas to be controlled on public access event days. This is the first floor proposed controlled public access. And the second floor showing the public access to the mezzanine area around the new imagined committee chamber. With regards to cycle parking and landscaping, sorry, again, this one's a bit fuzzy. The proposal will provide 53 cycles parking spaces, which meet the new emerging London Plan standards. The proposals include 2 cargo bike spaces and accessible bike space at ground floor level, 38 spaces provided by Sheffield stands, 12 spaces provided by 2 steer stands. In addition, there'll be 15 spaces provided via folding bike lockers. Conditions require the details of landscape and arboricultural management plans to be discharged, and this will take account of where the cycle parking is to be located. With regards to amenity, no overlooking concerns are raised. However, the front windows, the roof extension are proposed to be obscure glaze and open limiters on to shield any views of the adjacent Garland Court windows at 4th floor. With regards to noise and ventilation, uses including the cafe community uses not expected to exceed the background noise, and management and conditions are not expected to impact on surrounding areas, neighbours' amenity. A condition requiring details is added to the planning application. With regards to the energy, sorry, I'm just going to flip back a second. Proposed use the pre-fire buildings as the benchmark. The energy assessment report indicates that the building will receive a 68% carbon savings, exceed the minimum 35% threshold required by the London Plan policy. The BREEAM pre-assessment report is targeting very good. This will be controlled through condition. With regards to ecology, the council's ecology officer is by the condition requiring internal drift bricks can be incorporated in development. With regards to highway works, the proposed development is wholly contained within the site and does not fall on highway land. However, Section 278 agreement for works around the site is necessary to secure improvement to the Walworth Square footway area. This forms part of the 106. With regards to air quality, following the adoption of recommended mitigations via an air quality and dust management plan, condition development and be considered to be in accordance with national and local policies regarding air quality. A selection of uplighters regarding lighting and signage proposed to the building, lighting columns and to feature the building are proposed. Conditions requiring details are considered to be appropriate for these. With regards to the 106, this includes provision of heads of terms regarding local economy of workspace, including affordable workspace provision, public access management plan, community use, including the D1 floor space, cafe use at A1, A3, D1 floor space, highway works, including Section 278, cycle route contribution, historic buildings monitoring and supervision fund, a conservation management plan, and administration fee. With regards to the summary of public consultation responses, there was 1 consultation response received on the planning application, and 13 plus the 3 extras that I mentioned in the addendum for the listed building consent application. The summary objections you should be able to see on your screens. Loss of town hall civic function, loss of public library museum, changes to elevations, new entrance, details of council chamber, unclear heritage experience of applicant's team, delivery servicing, bin storage issues, includes the comments from the Walworth Society and the Victorian Society. However, Historic England have comments, they support the application and reuse and restoration of the building. In conclusion, the application scheme was designed in accordance with the Southwark local plan, whilst having consideration of the draft Southwark plan and the London plan and the emerging London plan and the national policy planning policy framework. While there be some loss of D1 floor space should the cafe remain in A3 use, the flexibility use is considered to provide long-term sustainable use of the buildings, and the community event provision in the 106 would ensure that D1 use would also be realised. The other benefits of proposed including restoration of Grade 2 listed fire damaged building, its removal from the heritage at risk restaurant, provision of dedicated community space and office provision outweighs this shortfall. Officers are therefore recommending approval of the application subject to conditions and the signing of the Section 106.
Thank you, Catherine. That was very succinct. Now we've already made reference to it this evening. We received a late submission from the Walworth Society, which in its content raised a number of questions, which officers have gone away and produced a document in response. Could you speak to that, please?
Yes, of course. So the Walworth Society put together a briefing note for members, and officers felt it was appropriate to respond with some clarity. The background to this is the developer will be required to submit a public access management plan to the council and will not be able to occupy the development until it has been approved by the council. Management plans are usually approved by officers. If members would like additional oversight of the management plan, officers recommend that the Section 106 agreement include a requirement for the developer to consult ward councillors on the content of the management plan before it is submitted to the council for approval. With regards to the Walworth Society's specific comments, I will go through them one by one. Percentage discount increase. The Walworth Society queried reference in the report to a decrease in the discount to be applied by local community groups. This has been deleted from the table and contained in the addendum report. Local community groups will benefit from a fixed 30% discount in respect to private hire opportunities. With regards to regular public events, the Walworth Society asks for greater certainties of the number of events that will take place. The report notes the events are expected to occur at least once a month. In order to provide greater certainty, officers recommend stating the minimum in the agreement a minimum of 12 per annum unless otherwise agreed by the council. With regards to the Walworth Society's comments about the events being free to members of the public to attend, the Section 106 agreement will require the developer to consider how events and programmes can be made widely accessible as part of the public access management plan. With regards to the review process for these issues, the Walworth Society wants to have a role in the review of the public access management plan. The management plan will be reviewed by the officers. If members would like additional oversight of the review process, officers recommend that in the Section 106 agreement include a requirement for the developer to consult ward councillors on the content of the review before it is submitted for approval. With regards to the D1 floor space issues, the Walworth Society wished for a change in 150 years to be in perpetuity. The council agrees free access to the community space for the 450-year duration of the lease for general projects. After that, the period of ownership for the whole property will revert back to the council. With regards to the comments on the community management plan, the Walworth Society would like the community management plan to be finalised before the planning permission is issued. Management plans are usually required to be agreed on or before the occupation development, and this is what officers would recommend in this case to members. As with the public access management plan, if members would like additional oversight of the management plan, officers recommend that the Section 106 agreement include a requirement for the developer to consult the ward councillors on the content of the management plan before it is submitted to the council for approval. With regard to the cafe use, the Walworth Society would like the Section 106 agreement to explicitly state that public access will be retained. The public access to cafe will be dealt with in the Section 106 agreement. And that concludes my section. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Thank you very much. I now turn to members. Do members have any questions that they'd like to put forward to Catherine, Planning Officer? No? David, go ahead. Councillor David Noakes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the report, Catherine. I just wanted to sort of highlight something that concerns me a bit, which I think you touched on, but not in great detail, and that's the comments of the Council's Conservation Area Advisory Group, the CAG. I mean, I noted obviously that Historic England have given support generally, but our own local conservation area advisory group have submitted some of the most damning comments that I think I've seen from them about the proposals for the building being poor and inappropriate. How regrettable it is the council will not put the Woolworth Library back and the Keeming Museum back. It's a shameful lost opportunity and a lazy sell-off. The scheme is fundamentally flawed, and that the panel urges the council to refuse the application. And the Victorian Society also have some concerns as well, which are less articulated in the report. And I did try to find the Victorian Society's letter to see the sort of the context of their comments, but I couldn't actually find it. I just wondered, in response to that, I mean, I've seen the responses that are the written responses in the report, but has there been any sort of movement or further conversations with the council's conservation area appraisal group, and have those have we managed to sort of mitigate their concerns at all or not, and how do we respond to those?
Excuse me, with if I may answer, Chair, if that's okay.
Yes, of course, Catherine. Yes, do go ahead.
With regards to Conservation Area Advisory Group, no, there hasn't been any more discussion with them about it. With regards to the Victorian Society, officers held a Zoom meeting joint with the Woolworth Society to address some of the issues. I think there is sometimes there's a different approach taken to restoration of buildings. And the Woolworth and the Victorian Society are a national amenity society who is interested in Victorian buildings. So they may wish to see something different from what officers find acceptable in policy terms. We have discussed it with them, and we have addressed some of those issues by requiring a more detailed approach at condition stage with regards to sections and elevations, a room by room schedule and survey of the town hall, and the category A rooms in one of the conditions should be prepared by an accredited conservation architect. So we've tried to respond to their concerns by addressing those through conditions.
Can I just have one follow-up question, Chair?
Indeed, go ahead, Councillor.
So yeah, thank you, Catherine, for that. And it does sound like efforts have been made and some success has been achieved in regards to the Victorian Society. In regards to the CAG, though, it doesn't sound like was it just felt that there was they had a different viewpoint and there wasn't any middle ground, or I mean, I don't know if Michael wishes to add anything as if he's sitting here in his wearing his conservation hat, but it's just that the comments seem to be very damning to me, and I'm a bit shocked at the fact that we don't seem to have managed to bridge that gap at all, or that there's been no further discussions. And as I say, I do note that the Historic England are supportive, and obviously I do put a lot of weight into their views, but I'm just a bit concerned that our own local conservation area group is so anti.
Well, thank you, Chair. Yes, the CAG often has raised these questions, these concerns. They are twofold. One is related to the quality of restoration and repair work. As Catherine has outlined, we've addressed those, and we think that the application before you, the proposal as is put to you today, it addresses those scholarly and those sort of conservation restoration issues. There is obviously CAG have raised the sort of wider issues in respect of the Keeming Museum and the library, and what Catherine has outlined to you, and is in the report before you, is the evidence of where those facilities are being restored and reprovided nearby. So in that respect, I guess there's a sort of a point at which that CAG wanted to specifically make to this committee, and it's very similar to the points raised by Woolworth Society, and will be I'm sure highlighted by the objectors tonight. So you know, what Catherine has outlined to you is that on technical matters, on planning matters, we have answered the questions raised by CAG and the Victorian Society. There's sometimes a difference of opinion, and a planning matter. In planning terms, it is always to this committee to find the balance and understand the balance that has to be struck in taking a decision. Often these groups, the amenity societies and so on, you know, particularly focus on specific issues, and but it is for the committee to look at the application in the round, I would say. So they might sustain their objection or their concerns, but it is obviously for the committee to look at these in the round, and that's what's presented to you in the report today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for that response. Do members have any other further questions that they'd like to put to Catherine? I've got Councillor Seaton. Go ahead, Councillor.
And thank you, Chair, and thank you, Catherine, for the presentation of the report. It's very helpful. Can I, just for my own peace of mind, just be clear as regards servicing the building? I note that Ethel Street is one of the access points, but I'm familiar with Ethel Street. It's an extremely narrow street. Is it a suitable point for servicing? I also note that that the servicing point is in front of Garden Court, which is some distance, I must say. Again, what are the sort of quality thresholds we would expect in terms of servicing a building of this size and complexity?
Hello, thank you. So with regards to servicing, that's set out in the waste and delivery plan. So the loading location on Monsey Street is in existence at the moment, I understand, and is probably the closest to the building. The Ethel Street location is where there is a rear entrance there, and there is a gate where the refuse bins could come out when the refuse lorry arrives. So they won't be stored on the street, it'll be stored in the courtyard, and the service delivery plan requires them to be brought out when it arrives. Including the Larkham Street location, that is a loading bay there at the moment. I think partly it is the constraint to the site. You can't service from the Walworth Road, and you can't service from Walworth Square. So these three locations are the nearest that you could physically be able to do that.
Do you have a thank you, Catherine. Councillor Seaton, do you have a supplemental, or are you sort of happy with that?
No, I might put a similar question to the applicants.
Righto. Okay, thank you. Catherine, just on the subject of waste disposal and collection, I did note in the report that it was cited that it would require the application site would require multiple collections during the week. Is that right? And has there been any consultation with Veolia or any sort of refuse collection company regarding that? Or is that left to the waste management plan phase?
No, there has been consultation by the applicants in their submission with a local waste management company, and that was their recommendation, that there'll be multiple points during the week where they would have to service.
Chair, can I ask if I can ask Alex Oyabadi, who can also just elaborate on the number of journeys and the servicing strategy for the proposal?
Yes, thank you, Michael. Alex, I invite you on behalf.
Thank you, Chair. The number of deliveries for this development is not that significant. It's only 32 two-way vehicle movements per day. So it's not a lot of deliveries for this development. The refuse is occasional, it's not frequent, because of the infrequent nature of the refuse collection. That was why Ethel Street was nominated, because the vehicle, refuse vehicle can easily back up. It's just a short distance. The bay refuse store is just there at the end of Ethel Street. So we've taken the view that because of the infrequent refuse collection, Ethel Street is adequate for it. And then other, on Lacombe Street, there's already a loading bay serving this development before the fire incident anyway. So we feel that because of the minimal, I mean, it works out to be like just over 1 per hour deliveries to this site, which makes 16 vehicles coming per day, which equates to 32 two-way vehicle movements. So it's not that frequent. So part of it will be serviced on Lacombe Street, and then on Wansley Street, there's already a turning head there anyway, so to serve the other part of the development. By the time you look at the distribution of the servicing area, it wouldn't be noticeable because of the minimal, just because it's only 16 vehicles coming per day servicing this development. That's why we feel it's adequate. We find it adequate and acceptable.
Okay, thank you. Are there any, do members have any additional questions to Alex before we move on? Or to Catherine, or indeed Michael? No? All righty, thank you for that. Thank you for the time being, Catherine. No doubt I'm sure we'll come back to you later on in the meeting. We'll move on. I've got objectors registered. I've got a Mr. James Beadle, is that correct? As an objector, Mr. Jeremy Leach and Diane Cochrane. Are you all present in the meeting?
Yes.
Yep. Right. Have you decided in advance who's actually going to speak for the 3 minutes, or will that be split?
The intention shows that that's to be split.
Sure.
Right. So can you just let me know who intends to speak, please, over the 3 minute period?
So Jim, if you're comfortable with it, we will speak for less than 2 minutes, if that's okay with you.
More than adequate, yeah.
Right. Okay, then. So
sorry for interrupting. I wonder if it's possible to have our 1 hour break, as it were, the 5 minute interval. Is that possible?
Oh, yes. Oh, I beg your pardon. Oh, yes. Actually, this would actually be an appropriate time before the objectors. Thank you very much indeed, Councillor, for reminding me about the protocol around the screen time. So, colleagues and members of the public, we are going to take a let's call it a 7 minute break. I make it, let's see, excuse me, I haven't got the time here, sorry, just excuse me.
20:08.
Right,
8 minutes past 8.
20:08, we'll come back at 20 past. Okay, thank you.